Hello and welcome to the Growth Mindset Psychology podcast with me, Sam Webster Harris, where we look at the science behind self-improvement and discuss philosophically what it means to live a life well lived. If you have listened for a while, you know that I enjoy finding inspiration in unexpected places. It is also Christmas lately, so why not reflect on some more personal backstories that define our human experience? For our episode today, we have a slightly sentimental set of ideas on growth mindset and life in general by looking at the concept of cooking, family, weird schooling practices, and the cool things my nan used to do. To fill you in, my nan was an entrepreneur, artist, and self-assigned chief baker for all of her friends in the village. As she grew old, she turned blind, and without complaining, still found ways to do the things that she loved and was always a source of positive encouragement for me and the whole of our wider family. So if you are looking for an episode where I teach you specific lessons about an idea or concrete tips on mastering an aspect of mindsets, this is probably not the episode for you. But if you enjoy heartwarming stories and lessons on family, growing up, and growing old, then I think you'll love it. You're going to hear me being interviewed by Becky Hadid, who runs the excellent podcast called The Storied Recipe, where she asks people about a specific recipe that means something deeply important to that individual and the weird and moving stories behind it. In my case, my special recipe is the coconut pineapple upside down cake that my nan used to make religiously for me every single time I saw her for over a decade because I had been slightly traumatized by my schooling system that would force feed me food until I vomited. And this pineapple cake was one of the only things she could get me to eat. And so she just did not stop giving it to me. But it's a long and heartwarming story that I would be honored if you have the time to take a listen.
Imagine yourself standing in an English garden, peeking through a small window into a cozy kitchen. Once you're close enough, you may even catch the faint strains of Bing Crosby on the radio. A small blonde boy and his sister sit at the table. It's a blue table on a blue floor, which is a surprising color choice, but one that will later make sense when you learn you're looking into the kitchen of an artist. The little boy and his sister are engrossed in their projects, while their nan takes a loaf out of the oven and puts another in. Only then do you notice 3 loaves of bread already cooling on the counter. The old woman turns and says something to the little boy, and his face lights up as he proudly holds out his modeling clay project to his nan. This little boy was Sam Harris, who grew up to mirror his nan in some of the best ways. She owned a business, he's a serial entrepreneur, and working now on one of my favorite podcasts, but more about that later. She was an artist, he is a musician. And she had a gift for making Sam and his cousins, and probably a lot of other people, feel seen, special, and supported. And speaking from a personal standpoint, I'm in a community where I get to see and have benefited from that same gift in Sam today. Such a thoughtful, humble way of encouraging others. In today's episode, we explore all of this through a simple pineapple cake, Sam's cake, as his family called it. The cake was his nan's attempt to heal his troubles with food and to instill her old-fashioned values through nurture rather than control. Most of all, this episode offered for me a new take, an inversion, if you will, on the old adage, it's better to give than to receive. Sam's pineapple cake tells the story of a family, their matriarch, the values she passed on, and the ways she ultimately received the gift of those values in return.
So the cake and my nan definitely got linked slowly over time, but I think there was a moment when when it clicked. One Sunday afternoon, going home with another pineapple cake, and my sister being like, "Do we have pineapple cake again?" And it had been a thing that had just not stopped. Every single time we'd been to see her, is that she would give me a pineapple cake, and I liked it, but the rest of my family stopped liking it at some point in the 3 to 4 year boundary, and she carried on anyway, just for me, which was lovely. Because I basically struggled to eat much food and really hated chocolate cake or Like I couldn't really eat ice cream other than like mint ice cream or vanilla ice cream because I was super fussy. My nan just realized one day when she was trying her different cakes that this is one thing I would eat. So she just kept on making it for me like every single time, which was lovely of her to do. Um, but even in my own head, at one point, I got a bit bored of it and was like, I think I can eat other things.
But then
it
you
was
couldn't
nice.
break her heart, right?
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, no one knew how to bring it up to her that we probably had enough pineapple cake at this point.
Tell me a little bit about being a fussy eater. Some kids are fussy eaters, but it sounds like it was pretty extreme in your case.
Yeah, when I was 3 or something, I was like allergic to sugar for a whole year, or like intolerance. I just got a massive rash, and so my mum had to learn how to cook everything sugar free for a while. But I could eat fruit, and then since then, I didn't like chocolate or like really sweet things. But I'd eat like vegetables and everything else pretty normally. Then I went to a school that was really strict, and they forced you to eat every single thing they cooked. And I don't know what they were doing, but they somehow made everything taste horrible. And I got to the point where I could tell exactly what was being cooked the moment I walked through the gates in the morning. And based on what it was, I would just feel sick all day or not. And then I'd get to lunchtime, and if it was, I couldn't even eat the boiled potatoes that they did, or carrots and things. And you'd be forced to eat everything on your plate, even if you asked to not have it, which was frustrating. And many times I'd end up being forced to sit there and try and eat something I didn't want to eat until I vomited, at which point I'd be allowed to go, which just seemed really pointless to me because of I'd rather eat something and then leave than eat some things I'm not going to finish, vomit, and have eaten nothing for lunch. But apparently that was more wasteful to them. So anyway, I had some like food-based trauma in my life for
You
quite a
certainly
few
did.
years in between being a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old until I left the school.
And this to me is a very sort of familiar from literature, but completely unfamiliar from experience, school experience. It's so dominant in Roald Dahl. It's really dominant, I think, in every book from any modern British author that I can think of, these sort of horrible, horrible school experiences. And at some point, I thought they were more in the past. Force feeding a child to the point of vomiting, you're young. This is modern.
Yes.
This is recent.
This was the 90s. It's the boarding school and the religious link. There was just something about like waste and stuff. They just sort of feel like you had to, I don't know, button up your bootstraps and deal with eating, which didn't seem to make much sense to me if someone's clearly got a problem.
Right. My instant reaction is that this really wasn't about waste. It was about power and control.
Yeah. I don't know, some teachers were more lenient about it, but nearly all of them were, like, it felt like it was just a policy, like children had to learn how to finish their food. Like my nan was really anti-waste, but she was very good at just not giving me things I didn't want to eat. And she spent a lot of time trying to find out what I wanted to eat, for example. And she wouldn't let you drink any water with your food, or because you think it would make you full and you wouldn't eat enough. So you weren't allowed to drink for half an hour before you ate anything.
She's right. I mean, that's one of the major weight loss tips that they give you is drink water, because then you'll have that feeling of fullness and you won't keep eating. I really am fascinated by this whole school experience because, like I said, I always thought it was sort of exaggerated for narrative purposes. When you say
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't sound that way. When you say they would make you just
so
children
like
can say
would
no.
leave, rather than like a teacher would sit with me and I wouldn't be allowed to leave until they would just be like, here's your sprout. You have to eat the sprout. And I'd finish everything else on my plate and I just wouldn't be allowed to leave the dining room.
And you would vomit and the reaction would be ho-hum, like sympathy.
We'd be like, okay, I guess you can go now. Which you think after it happened a few times, and I kind of got a bit better at hiding some of it in my pockets or like throwing it under the table and things over time as I really.
And when you told your parents about this is what's expected from the British school system.
I don't think they realized quite how bad it was. I think my mum would have done something more about it if I'd explained it more in depth than I did. I didn't really complain a lot. I was just like, oh, I'm a bit hungry when I got home or something. I didn't feel like I was like, I might cry sometimes whilst I was there, but then afterwards I'd be fine. As soon as I left the dining hall, have a great afternoon.
I mean, I do feel like this is exhibit A in the contention that kids are resilient. I think we overuse that sometimes and just justify everything. Oh, kids are resilient. But it sounds like you were.
It definitely affected my concentration. Like the last hour before lunch, I'd be like, oh God. And then, afterwards, always be super happy. Um, obviously, if we had something that was nice to eat, that would be the best for the afternoon. But it was just like a trial to get through that I would just be scared of. I
Okay.
wasn't too aware of how much food I had or hadn't eaten. I never really remember being full or hungry as a child. But yeah, I didn't eat a lot. Like my sister would eat most of my sweets and snacks. If I ever had any, I'd eat like a bit of it, and then she'd eat the rest before I ever saw them again.
Has this persisted into adulthood?
No,
Just no.
not at all. I eat everything. I mean, I don't eat a lot of cake and things, but I love fruit. Although I always loved fruit, but I do eat a lot. The food thing is I can eat anything pretty much. I don't like fatty things too much, like lots of cream or fatty stuff on meat. That's about the only thing that I'm not that excited by.
So in the end, as horrible as it sounds to me, the label abuse would 100% get slapped on it here.
Yes.
Now, could you even make the argument that it did accomplish the purpose that they set out for, which is it gave you like this resilience or ability to endure a trial, or was it just pointless?
I feel like it taught me that adults have no idea what they're doing. So they had a goal that was to like not waste things and teach you about the value of food. And then they were literally wasting food and doing the opposite and like clearly had zero ability to really achieve the real goal. So it just taught me that there are stupid things in the world that probably still need to be changed. Yeah, if anything, it kind of gave me a bit more of a like, don't listen to people who think they know what they're talking about. And I don't really like being in situations so much where other people can tell me what to do. Since then.
It wasn't the desired outcome, but maybe an even more important or formative outcome.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing.
I mean, you've been successful as an entrepreneur, so it sounds like it was maybe, even part of that is like, I don't want to just submit myself to someone who has authority over me that's not necessarily earned.
Yeah.
It's just hierarchical
definitely.
authority.
Yeah. It's definitely a good way of saying it. If I feel like I have a better idea of how to do something, I don't like someone being able to veto my thoughts. I'm happy to look up to someone who is a good leader, who doesn't mind giving me some space to like try different things. But yeah, I don't like someone who I feel like can do something better telling me what to do and being like, just let me explain myself and listen to me kind of thing.
I mean, to circle back, you were probably happy to at least try anything your nan made versus anything you were forced to eat. Like you said, even boiled potatoes, when it's forced upon you, it can't be appealing.
Definitely.
This is so
and
interesting.
Now I eat all the potatoes and carrots and stuff.
I'll tell you, Sam, I think you were about to gloss over it, but to me, that's a very shocking story to me, actually. I can't imagine that happening here. And in fact, I carry some trauma over the fact that I actually sort of like forced one of my kids once. They were like, I don't like it. And I was like, just stop it. You're going to eat it. And I did force them and they did vomit. And of course, I was like, I'll never do that again. And doing it one time, I still have so much regret. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm so sorry I did that. And these teachers were just day after day. It's stunning to me.
Just made me wonder how many teachers had that experience with me and then were like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. Some of them, I think I remember having it multiple times, but the only thing I vividly remember visual wise was one time it was like mashed potato and like peas and carrots or something. And like my vomit came out in a perfect circle, half of which was just mashed potato, half of which was green. It was the weirdest thing. We both stood there and looked at my vomit and were like, wow. Anyway, so that one stayed like visually in my head. Otherwise, it's just the emotions of crying a lot and being scared.
That's wild. That is just wild. So then your nan was very sensitive to the fact that you had these very reasonable food hangups, would try lots of types of things. Do you mind taking a moment and describing what you do remember about her home, her kitchen, her dining room, where you would eat, just visually so we can picture it, but the feelings as well?
Yes. So her home was very much based around the kitchen. She had an Aga that was really hot. And so you could be in there all winter. And it had like a blue floor and table and like a little window that would look out across the garden that was cute.
I don't know what an Argo is, actually.
An Argo is like a gas oven that doesn't turn off. that sits in your house and it's like a giant radiator. If you'd been there most of the day, listen to the radio or like Bing Crosby, and she'd bake like 5 loaves a day and take it around to all her neighbors because she'd somehow taken on the project of being the neighborhood's baker. And yeah, whenever I went to visit her, we'd be doing like art projects. So she was also an artist, and we were either we were baking or we were doing art whenever we were at her house, basically, which is nice. And yeah, Christmas, we'd make loads of Christmas cakes and like little marzipan animals that we got to paint and stuff. So lots of fun things. So that was cute. Then dining room was like to the side that had like a big table, and she'd host us with all her cousins and things, and she loved hosting people. And so yeah, had like a big spread of something whenever we went, and that was nice. Had like a red carpet. Then she had like a front room where we'd watch TV, and then she'd always fall asleep watching the news, and we'd try to change it, and then she'd be like, "I'm watching it," and you're like, "You're not watching it, Nan. Let us watch The Simpsons." No. Nightmare. Don't know how that worked.
That's a universal experience, I think, with grandparents.
Yes.
She sounds like such an indulgent, sweet woman. It's nice to hear a little bit of edge to her.
Yeah. Oh no, she had a lot of edge. she fell out with plenty of people.
By nature, or did something instill that edge in her?
I think she had a very strong sense of what she wanted to do, and like when she got older, she got like a thing called Lewy body dementia, and so she went slightly blind, and she had a lot of like imagination doing strange stuff. So she'd think that someone had said something horrible to her that hadn't, and then she'd be like, "Well, this person's useless," and so she could be kind of straight and sort of strict, but she was very kind. So like over Christmas, she'd always have a big Christmas tree that she'd put a load of chocolates on it. So instead of decorations, she'd decorate it with chocolate, and you always got to have one whenever you visited, which is a really cool idea.
Oh,
she wasn't like crazy indulgent. Like she'd never give you like a big portion of anything, and yeah, she'd always take the time to check what you'd been doing, or like take me to one side and ask me how school was, or that I was doing really well at this thing, and tell me how good I was at art and stuff. And like, I always felt like she kind of had an extra eye on me in like a good sense. So that was nice. She was very old fashioned and had ways of doing things.
No waste, a garden, these kinds of sort of old fashioned, but maybe we shouldn't be so quick to denigrate values.
Went to church all the time, ran the Mothers Union, just was very in control of things. When she was like entrepreneur, she ran like 3 laundrettes and like
wow.
So she was up at like 5 a.m. every day to run the news agents and stuff, and had like order. Like just the sort of like the initiative. So we were always like making stuff to give to people when we were at her house, which I think just taught me like you can just like make stuff, which is really nice. And like the amount of creativity we had with her was really cool. And then like as she turned blind, she carried on doing as much stuff as she could and never really complained about it, which I think was really powerful to watch someone, as they were such a visual person that did so much art and was such a busy, because she was leading the Mothers Union for like 10 years or something. She was, even after she retired, she was doing so much stuff and sort of basically have like most things taken away from her, and she still did whatever she could. And that was really sad, but also nice to watch in a way.
I mean, it's because it was difficult. It's because it was sad that it was memorable and impressive and instructive to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know anything about when you appeared in her story, how that struck her? Is that something she would tell and retell to you?
My mother, yes. My nan, I was the last of her grandchildren. So maybe I got some special attention. She certainly made me feel special. And I can't... I think she did that for everyone though. So sometimes I speak to my cousin who's 7 years older than me, and he talks about some of the same things that she would do and how it always made him feel good. So I think she just was good at that. So maybe that was significant for her. I haven't thought about that before, which is nice to think about.
It is nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a gift for her. This cake was a connecting point for you guys for sure. But it sounds like you shared a lot as well, including a love of art and, well, just a path of entrepreneurship. Do you draw a direct line between yourself as an artist and an entrepreneur to her? Or do you see it as a disconnected thing that you just kind of shared tangentially?
I'd say tangentially. It's hard to say. It's like
it's something you both happen to do.
There's a lot of artists and teachers.
What kind of artist was your grandmother?
So she did a lot of painting.
Oh, wow.
My granddad did like jewelry. She did like a few things in jewelry, like metalwork and stuff, but she did some like leather work as well that she enjoyed. But mostly painting. And she did like make these silk scarf painting things as well, or she'd always paint these little like Christmas cards. She'd do like this fancy like icing art on top of cakes for people and stuff. So my mum still got like these flowers that she made her for her wedding.
Wow.
So yeah, various things. And then my uncle was an art teacher, and he did lots of like art prints and stuff. Are
you an artist?
I make music more than art, actually. So my sister, she has like an art scholarship. She did loads of art, and then she did run like a little arts and craft business for a while. And now she's a garden designer. She went through like the whole corporate life and then left 2 years ago and was like, I'm just going to become a designer. She's so happy now, other than the fact it doesn't make much money.
What's her name?
Kim Harris.
Kim Harris.
She's doing some really cool stuff. It's really nice.
Wow.
So I did really enjoy art, though. I did it at school and liked it. But I found, as far as a release, like whenever I've been through something bad, I usually have found I've ended up writing a song. It's like a sense of mourning, and that you can like put it somewhere and then capture emotions in a way that you can't explain. And it's harder to move on from it when you haven't put it somewhere. That I find like some artists can put that into a painting, which I found kind of harder. But my partner's a designer, and like she loves painting and things. So I've done the odd painting with her since then that I've really enjoyed. But for some reason, I don't go and do it out of urge and need, whereas I will write or I will make music out of like, it just sort of happens. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you think art was like that for your grandmother, or sort of more of a hobby, or was it like this cathartic thing for her?
It's hard to know, because she did it so sort of systematically, like all the time and things. But I think she liked doing it. I don't know, so much of the things were kind of like almost appeared like a job, the way she did them, that it's hard to say. But I think she was enjoying herself. Otherwise she wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, she probably did come from that generation and was just also at a phase in life where her, you know, her spare time was limited, and even creativity had to be relegated to certain times of the day.
Yeah, that's interesting. But she'd go to different art schools just to learn different things, and she'd end up making a few nice stuff. Like she went to learn pottery for a bit, and she made like my mum and dad like a pottery version of the house that they were living in, like this cottage that was cute. So she'd go and learn different stuff purely for self-interest. I could only assume.
It does seem like it was certainly a very powerful way she connected to other people. I mean, of all the things in the world she could have chosen to create in a pottery class, she was always kind of looking to connect with people.
I think so. She did talk a lot, which I haven't mentioned yet, but it also became a thing of like, she would call, and then like everyone in the house would know she called, and they'd run away. So the person on the phone would be stuck talking to her for an hour. But it was kind of nice. Like I guess I missed it a little bit. You did get to sort of hear what she was thinking about, but she would tell like the story that sounded like it was going somewhere, but then it was like, oh, then I met this person, then this thing, and then there was a doctor. Like, I thought you were telling me what you had for lunch. Could be a bit long. She was still interested in what we were up to when she was talking, but she did I think if she wasn't doing stuff, then people weren't visiting, especially as she got older. She didn't have that many.
She was lonely.
Relatively speaking, she outlived a lot of her friends as well. So I think after a while, it does get a bit depressing when everyone you know just sort of dies.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's reality. That's what we're interested in, right?
Yeah. True that.
Yeah. I think you've done a really, really good job of presenting a full picture of your Nan for this cake. Or let me ask it this way, right? You've probably eaten thousands, possibly tens of thousands of different dishes in your life. There's something that made you sort of laser focus on this cake. What does it mean?
When you were describing your podcast concept, this instantly came to my mind. There was nothing else that really sprung into my mind. I think it was such an association between me and my Nan specifically, as in like, my sister would complain about like Sam's pineapple cake when we'd had too many pineapple cakes kind of thing. It was
Oh,
definitely done for
okay.
me. Uh, even though we did all like it. And
Mm.
how long it went on for. Like
Yeah,
it was like
yeah, yeah.
as in we'd have like a different thing for lunch, even though like Sunday lunch in UK is like a similar thing, but like there'd be some variation in it. But like the pineapple cake was like the most regular thing there was.
Hmm.
Like other puddings would come in, like you have mince pies at Christmas, but
Hmm.
you have like a trifle over summer,
Hmm.
these kind of things. But like this was the most constant piece of food in my life for like several years, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It sort of represents like the consistency and the enduring love
yeah,
of
yeah.
your Nan. I think of these words being known. She really knew you. She knew your struggles with food. It was so much for you specifically.
Yeah, so I guess that was really nice. But I think there was also something around, as you do grow up and you change in things, it felt a little bit like she still thought of me as the same person after like 6 or 7 years. And you're like, okay, maybe I do like other things, but you sort of expect me to want the same thing. And maybe as same way, like with your grandparents and parents, it can get a bit confused as you reach teenage years and perhaps don't like the same things that you used to like and stuff. I think I kind of did notice that it was like
Yeah.
the most obvious connection of that happening with her. Is like these things happen with all sorts of different ways with the adults in your life. I guess it was the most obvious telltale sign of that. I
I
guess.
think that's a really great point. It's a beautiful symbol, but it's just a tiny bit of a cautionary tale of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
leave room for this relationship to grow, leave room for the other person to grow, leave room to explore new things together. You know, whether she was capable of that at her age, going blind,
Yeah, yeah,
developing
for
dementia,
sure.
who's to say? It sounds like probably not, but there's something for those of us in middle age and good health to learn from
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, definitely. I
It's a
guess
good
there's a few
point.
different emotions going on there of like
Mm,
beyond the it's really nice for her to do something nice for me, so you kind of want to accept it in
of
that sense.
course.
Um,
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't change your reaction. I'm so glad you didn't because it's something that started for you. And in the end, it was for her
yes.
of this thing
Yeah.
that
Nice
still
way
made her feel
to put
useful, still made her
it.
feel like she could express her love.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really lovely. And I think it is kind of nice for you to know that what she started giving to you, you did ultimately turn around and give back to her just by accepting this gift. And I think there is a lot in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Can mean something to the other person. It's kind of nice to see the way that, you turned into her caregiver a little bit.
Yeah.
A little
Um,
bit. It's
mhm.
really
Yeah, we
nice.
definitely did like look after them a bit as they got older and stuff. Cause
Yeah.
it was nice. And my uncle did most of the caregiving as he got older. He was there most of the time, but
Hmm.
it was nice to show up and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, not everything needs to be said. You were kind of wise enough to know she needs this now. I feel
Yeah,
really
see.
touched by this right now.
Yeah.
How long has your Nan been gone? 10
Uh,
years, you said.
more like 15. Trying to remember
15.
the exact year, but
Mm.
I think it was 87 or 88. I think I was still at university or just finishing when she died.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
sad.
It is sad. It is sad. But with 15 years to reflect, you're probably in a better position to answer this. We talked about what you two share specifically, but what would you see perhaps as some other ripples from the stone of her life?
Yeah. Although she wasn't a teacher as her job,
Mm.
I think she constantly was teaching us. You always had a job to do.
Hmm.
So,
Mm.
like, whatever she was making, she would find a way to get you involved in it or to go do the gardening or like all the different things and growing stuff. So she
Mm.
was very good at like letting you learn different things and become useful.
Hmm.
But also some of that was like teaching other kids and stuff around her. So I don't know if that had an impact on why they became teachers, but obviously is my cousins are basically teachers or artists. I think there's some pretty direct link there, as well as my mum and her brother are both teachers. So my mum was like an English and drama teacher, and her brother was an art teacher. So yeah, definitely just like the art and teaching vibe, I think is like a strong one from her. And it's kind of sad, but like she was the one that she brought us together the most out of our family. Like we're constantly doing things around her. So like since she's gone, we don't hang out with my cousins and uncles so much, which is sort of sad. So it's like not really a ripple afterwards cinch, but it's more like the reason I know my cousins and uncle is all because of her. So I guess that's sort of a ripple. Like I still think about them and care about them because of her.
Yes. And also our conversation started with you talking about your family WhatsApp and you just asking your sister about her designs. And actually, it's not totally normal for, siblings to be in touch on a regular sort of day-to-day, life-to-life, moment-to-moment basis. And although you may not be in touch with your cousins as much, the idea that she valued, I suspect that part of the reason that you do have this closeness with your family is because it's just a value that she instilled, a model.
Yeah. No, she was definitely very good at that, and like the whole it's in paying attention to people, and not that we really had like mobile phones around and stuff, but it still was very much like you had to have a family meal and know what everyone was doing in the family.
Yeah, it's just something you've carried on beautifully. It's amazing to think all of these teachers in the world, and the people that have such changed lives because of them. And
yes, because my mum's a teacher. Like when we were going, she did teach for quite a long time in like the nearest town where we live. So sometimes when I'm walking around with her, like random 40-year-old people will come up and be like, "Jane Harris, oh my God, you changed my life."
Amazing?
And it's like, wow, cool.
I just love the fact that we have no idea where like one action will lead. It makes it so much easier, I think, to make the right choice when we just are constantly confronted with the idea of these sort of generational legacies, just to know like we don't have to. In fact, we probably don't see even the tiniest percentage of the ramifications of our choices, Yeah,
so much stuff that's like hidden to you. Even in your own thoughts, like you're constantly thinking stuff and then you try to remember what you're even thinking about. Most of it's gone, which I'm not sure if that was a useful metaphor. It's just like made me think of that, so I'm saying it. You said a really nice thing. So
really. Do you feel compelled to pass this cake on to anyone? I mean, now all my listeners will have the recipe, which is awesome. We'll talk about it in a minute here. Do you feel compelled to share this, make it a part? Yeah, tell me about that.
Like, I definitely think I'll make it for my children.
Yeah.
And occasionally, I've made it like on the anniversary of her death. Not that recently. So my mum was the keeper of the recipe and she lost it. But due to this, I actually bothered to work out. We've done our best job of working out how to recreate it. So thanks. And I have been wanting to make it for my girlfriend anyway, because she does like cake. But there's another meal that I haven't spoken about. Was one thing that I did eat was this thing called like a volcano. It's just pasta with baked beans, cheese, and then ketchup covered over it. That looks a bit like a volcano.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's fine. But you arrange it so it looks like a volcano, and that she used to make that for me so I'd actually eat something. It was more than just pasta and ketchup, because that was my main diet for a while. She wasn't keen on doing that for me. That was like more of we taught her to do that for me. That was very regrettable. Like, hey, fine, I'll make this one if you're here for 3 days and have run out of things that you will eat. I think my sister taught her to make that for me, actually.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. Pasta, beans, and ketchup. My goodness. Don't click stop. We are about to talk about this pineapple cake. But first, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to Sam for sharing the story with us and for honoring his Nan and giving me so much personally to reflect on. Again, I would love for you to stick around for just a few more minutes. We're going to explore how to make Sam's pineapple coconut cake, my first 2 failed attempts, and the surprising cross-cultural miscommunications that can arise even between Brits and Americans. You will find links to this simple cake and almost 200 recipes from the guests of the Storied recipe on my website or the Storied recipe newsletter. Just follow the link in the show notes to sign up, and you will receive episode and recipe updates every Friday, along with a few personal updates and opportunities to help shape the direction of the Storied recipe and our offerings. Now, speaking of offerings, if that final question about who will keep and pass on this recipe, if that resonated with you, I just want to remind you that we are getting tantalizingly close to releasing a host of resources to help every family, yours included, to gather and curate the recipes and stories and memories that make up your family's culinary heritage. Again, to get updates as we start to release our first offerings, just follow the links in the show notes to sign up for the Storied recipe newsletter. Finally, if you have a dish and a story you might want to share, I would love to hear from you. Reaching out isn't a commitment, it's just a conversation. You can email me anytime at becky@thestoriedrecipe.com. Now, we're going to get back to Sam, and just to orient you, I am going to drop you right into the middle of the conversation as I reference Sam's latest podcast, which is titled How to Change the World. It is such a captivating podcast, chronicling the most significant innovations in human history, but just as importantly, discussing what we can or even what we must learn from those innovations as we as a society take our next great leaps forward. In an early episode of this podcast, Sam introduced the idea of an innovation Richter scale, and he brought us through a few fun experiments on where some of our favorite luxuries or even our favorite necessities rank on that scale. So again, right as I drop you into the conversation, we're talking about where this recipe ranks on the innovation Richter scale.
I did talk about like a recipe that you like.
You did.
Is it private within like your own thing or like just your family versus is it on the internet? And so we haven't shared it on the internet. So it's not very well known at all. So
no, I think it's a 2.
Graduating to level 3 as of
you think?
Put it out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Level 2 within the family. Level 3 is once it's on the internet and it's been shared.
Okay.
Maybe 2 people make it and forget about it.
Okay. Yeah. If it goes viral, then it'll be like a 3.1.
Yeah.
I'm just constantly enamored and kind of delighted to find how different American and British culture is to me.
It's a culture shock.
Really?
You think you know what's going on and then you get there like, oh, whoa. I thought they were just joking.
Yes. Yeah. The word Moorish is just a delightful word to me because it's exactly what it sounds like you want more of it. Mm-hmm. I've never heard this word.
Wow. Do you say it's not my cup of tea in?
Yes, we do.
You got that from us. Fun fact, I've just been researching for this episode. In Brazil, they say it's not my beach, which is fun. And
that's a wealth. When you have so many beaches, you can...
Definitely. In Spain, they say that's not the saint of my devotion, which...
Wow.
Religious in Spain, hey?
I wonder what it would be if we were to... I don't want to think too long about this. Let's not. Okay, let's talk about the cake.
Alrighty, thanks so much for Becky Hadid having me on her show, The Storied Recipe. It's honestly a super cool project. Every episode has an interesting story behind it, some heartwarming ideas, and lessons on weird cultures around the world. And you can find more episodes by searching for The Storied Recipe online, where she also posts all the recipes from the story she talks about. In the case of this episode, you can hear the final section where we talk about the specifics of making the cake, as I thought I probably wouldn't share that here, as many of you maybe don't need a baking lesson on pineapple cake. But if you were to be interested in how to make that cake, you can find the rest of the episode at her podcast, and you can find the recipe on her website. I will just say that besides converting Becky into a believer into the wisdom of pineapple coconut upside down cake, I have had a renewed vigor in making it myself, and I have been baking it non-stop for the past 3 months for my Portuguese side of the family, who now love it, and various friends who I have been slowly converting into a movement. So I would absolutely love it if you were to join us in the celebration of this delightful cake. And if you want any help from me on instructions of how to cook it, just shoot me an email and I will be happy to help. Although in Becky's own words, it is a very resilient recipe and it's pretty hard to mess up. But no worries if you have a question. My email is growthmindsetpodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I hope you are having a wonderful Christmas time and have plans to spend it with family whilst you still have them. Nothing lasts forever, as they say, so make the most of it. Thank you so much for listening.
Go you!
Your consistency to reach the end of an episode is legendary.
My hero!
If you have any ideas or feedback for the show, I'm always interested to hear from you.
You're the best!
Studies show we need time for information to sink in, so I'm going to give you a 5-second pause. Silence. To reflect on one idea from the show before you jump back into your busy life. Ready and go.